Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? It's so easy with Anchor.
Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use.
And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what we're doing right now by reading this ad. We struggled to find the right way to distribute our podcast, and Anchor made it quick, easy, and free. We're on platforms we had never heard of, and that's all thanks to Anchor doing the hard work.
So, if you have been thinking about starting your own podcast, head on over to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start. Welcome back to Spilling the Mad Tea. I'm Rachel, and as always, I'm joined by Katie, Stephanie, and Kelly. Today, we are talking about something we all know too well, pins.
Hands!
Pin trading, as normal people would call it. But before that, let's catch up. How is everybody?
I have an additional 2 dogs at my house in addition to my 1 dog, so I kind of feel like the Khaleesi, like mother of doggos, walking around everywhere. Anytime I go anywhere in my house, I'm like followed by 3 dogs. So it's gonna be a fun weekend.
That's perfect.
What about you, Stephanie?
Today was a beautiful day down at the Jersey Shore. It was really, really sunny and warm, but there was a really strong breeze, so I spent most of the day outside and let time get away from me, and I forgot we were recording tonight. But eventually remembered it. Here we are. Katie, how was your day?
Pretty good. Just a normal day for me. We're getting ready for Memorial Day weekend at work. I'm getting ready for another trip to Disney weekend after next. So pretty good in my world. Rachel, how have you been?
Fairly well. I just got done grilling dinner. It was nice. Yummy. Work was rough, but it's the weekend. And as we were recording, it's Memorial Day weekend, as Katie said. So we got a long weekend off. I'm pumped. So I'm ready to go.
Well, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
All right. So I know that Katie, Kelly, and I are all obsessed with pin trading, and Stephanie just has to deal with our antics. Thanks, by the way.
Thanks, Mom.
We started off kind of stupid and then got a little smarter. I remember buying pins here and there on our college program, but never really understood the whole pin trading thing. Katie, Kelly, and I went down to Walt Disney World for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party when we dressed up as the Sanderson sisters, and that trip we had some extra time, so we decided we'll purchase a couple of pins and try this whole trading thing.
Like a bunch of idiots, we were like, we're just gonna buy a few.
Every single day we were there for the trip, we bought a new pack to go trade.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We were dumb.
Not our proudest moment.
No. So I'm like, oh, boy, did we try the trading thing. We spent so much money. Like,
yeah.
Too much money.
So were you buying like those like starter packs of like?
We bought the the 5-pin mystery packs that are like $30 a piece. I think I bought like 3 of those. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was like an unnecessary amount of money. Like, I'm pretty sure I had enough money to get home, gas money wise. That was
the pins. We had to have the pins.
But since then, we've gotten a little smarter about this whole collecting and pin trading thing. We have a system where we buy the large lots of pins prior to our vacation, and we pick out our keeps and our trades, and usually share the trades with each other, see if anybody else wants them. It's fun. That's probably one of the most enjoyable things to do when we get a bunch of pins.
Yeah, going through all the pins is always the most fun. So here's my thing about the lot of pins. So we buy them on sites like eBay from these people who are selling pins for like 50 cents a piece, which is great, but apparently they're like counterfeit pins. Here's my feelings about that. I'm a little bit torn, but ultimately I can live with it. I feel like Disney can't be losing that much money on them, or they would have found some way to shut it down. And I don't feel like I'm like maliciously working the system. I'm just trying to enjoy something that at Disney price is just not doable. So I've also never spotted an quote inauthentic counterfeit pin more than like I've seen them like twice. And these are ones that I traded for with cast members. So it's not like ones that I bought off of these sites. These are ones that were already in the park anyway. So like they're in the
Yeah.
park. What do you guys think about this?
I totally agree. Like, because I used to buy, or I kind of still buy those pin lots, but like one thing I've tried to be more aware of, like when I'm actually in the parks trading, is to only trade with like the best of those pin lots that I do get. Because I have definitely noticed the same pins over and over and over again on cast member lanyards and pin boards. And I'm like 95% sure those are all the fakes that people are getting in these huge pin lots and then just like trading for like these really, really nice pins. Like I've seen so many of the footprint circle pins and the World of Color fountain pins that nobody knows what that is because it's a really weird looking pin. Yeah, I see those all the time. So I'm trying to be more aware of what I am trading when I'm trading in the park.
I've started to look at the backs of them a lot because I like to, if I can. Sometimes you got to have a magnifying glass, but I like to look at the back of them, especially to see like where they came from, because some of them are legit. They're legit, so they come from the international parks and stuff, and I really like to see which one that is, and because it always kind of looks different than the others.
Yeah, I do like to see that. And this, of course, is just our like speculation. We don't actually know how like the details of the pins and the system and how all that works. So, like, if any of our listeners know that, please fill us in. We'd love to be educated on that. Where this is just what we've kind of picked up on doing our own pin trading and doing our own system.
Yeah, we are by no means experts. We just really, really enjoy it.
Yeah, I know that there's some people out there who like this is a hardcore hobby for them is pin trading. And like they probably know way more about it than I do. There's people who have like entire vests full of pins that they like wear into the parks and stuff like that and they are hardcore about it. So, educate us.
We are like complete hobbyists. We're like, ooh, shiny pin, want.
Yeah.
But that's about our thought process. So take everything we're going to discuss today with a grain of salt.
Okay, so I know that when we went as the Sanderson sisters, that's kind of when we started to do it. But what are some times that are stories that stand out to you the most about pin trading?
I remember recently going to Hollywood Studios, and everything's closed there right now because everything's changing.
Right.
So we wrote everything, saw everything that we wanted to within a couple hours. It was like 11 a.m. and we were done with everything at the park because we had got there and like rope dropped the Toy Story stuff and had fast passes for everything else, and we just didn't really have anything else to do. But we didn't want to go back to the hotel because we kind of had just gotten there.
Mm-hmm.
We had lunch reservations at like 1 or 2, so we had to kind of hang out at the park. So my husband and I spent the next 2 hours just walking around to all of the merchandise shops, every cart, every like ice cream stand, like everything, looking for pins and like scoping out pins. And not only did we have fun and like find some cool pins, like those were some of the best conversations with cast members we've ever had. And like we've noticed things in the parks that we've never seen and got to spend time not worrying about like what fast pass is next and like what are we going to miss out in the park. So I guess it's not really like pins necessarily, but going and searching out pins when we had already done everything and basically a half day park at this point was one of the most magical park days I've ever had. And had I not gotten into pins, I feel like I wouldn't have enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I feel like those are like the best park days. And they're kind of rare now, like more rare now, I think, for us as we go, because we're like spending so much money to be there. You feel like you have to like get all of this stuff done. So it is kind of nice to take a step back and just kind of stroll around and interact with those cast members. That sounds really fun.
I would say for me, the trip when we went to Not So Scary, that's like, I'll never forget that because we were just going around looking at people and we got so many pins. Even though we spent so much money, I feel like the amount of fun we had, like the money was totally worth it.
Yeah, like we spent a lot of money, but I don't ever look back on that and think like, oh wow, I spent so much money on that trip. I'm like, oh wow, that was such a fun trip, and like, who knew pin training was going to be that much fun?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't regret anything.
Yeah, I remember us walking, like just making circles around the World Showcase. Like we kind of went through in the morning and hit all of the morning cast members, and then we went and did some rides, and then we went back around for like the afternoon and evening cast members, and we're just trading as much as we can, and that was just so much fun.
Yeah, I haven't pin traded like that since then. Like I don't really do it a whole lot unless
I'm with
like
y'all.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good trip. We were hunting
Yeah.
people down.
Had to look at everybody's pins.
I do remember specifically on that trip, the morning we were gonna leave, we were just gonna like get up, have some breakfast and leave. We were staying at oh my gosh, Caribbean Beach.
Yeah, we had the pirate room.
Yeah. And so we were gonna get up and like grab a quick breakfast at our resort before we hit the road and like headed back. And we decided we wanted to pin trade instead. So we went like to our quick service at the Caribbean Beach, pin traded there, and then we're like, where else? Because we didn't really like the breakfast menu, I guess, at that resort. So we were like, where else do we want to go and pin trade? And so we went to Coronado Springs, and not only was it a really good breakfast, but it was amazing pin trading. And that's when we
Yeah.
learned that like resorts are premium pin trading territory. Yeah, that was definitely the trip of the pins.
Yeah. Speaking of that trip, does anybody have any ridiculously funny stories to share? Because I know I do.
Well, I don't know if it's ridiculously funny, but it was funny to me, so I can share my little story from that trip.
Yes.
We stopped in Norway, and I was able to make a trade with a very good-looking Norwegian man. And I have this thing I'd like to call going I like snakes, because I'm just gonna tell this whole backstory here. I was in Universal Studios in the Hogsmeade section, and I had like this snake necklace on, and this guy was at like one of the checkout things, and he's like, "Oh, I love your necklace. Is that for Slytherin?" And like, no words came out besides "I like snakes." Like that's the only thing I was able to say to this man, because he was also good looking. So when I say going all "I like snakes," that's what I mean. So I was able to
Yeah, we'll probably refer to that a lot.
Yeah. I was able to trade this pin without going all "I like snakes." And I pointed out like this Mickey Mouse pin that I wanted, but he had multiple Mickey Mouse pins on his lanyard. So I was like, I joked and I was like, "Oh yeah, the one with the ears." And he thought it was so funny. And I was like, "Me? I made a joke." Like, I did, like, I was witty and clever, and I like, what? And yeah, now I'm realizing how cheesy this story is, but that's my funny little story there.
It's the little things.
Yeah.
Right. There's not many instances where you can just be like, that was good.
Yeah.
At the time you needed it to be good, not like after the
I
fact.
like high-fived myself, and I was like, "Yeah, you did a good job, Kelly." Like, pat on the back. Yeah. So
Oh my god.
I'm a dork. What about you, Rachel?
I think that one of my favorites is just, I mean, it's not a long story, but on that same trip when we went to Not So Scary, we just kept going, "Can I see your pants?"
We would ask it almost exactly like
It's a
that
little
too.
aggressive.
Oh my god.
We were like shouting at these cast members.
Like, we were so into it. Like, I mean, we couldn't help ourselves but to be aggressive. Like, it was so ridiculous.
It's so funny because now when I go and I pit train and I'm not with you guys, I'm so like very like meek about it. I'm like, I'm sorry, like I don't want to bother you. Like, I just want to look at your pins. Or if they're like ringing somebody up or they're like stalking something, I like won't even talk to them. I'll just kind of like try to like peek.
Right,
And then,
just look while
then
you're
of course
passing
I'm
by.
like checking out this woman's boobs or trying to look at somebody's
Yeah,
butt.
that's what I was gonna say.
And I'm like, no, I'm just looking at your pins.
Whenever I go pinch or go to the parks with you guys, like I just see you like checking out all of these people, and you're like just staring at either their chests, or if they've got their pins on their belt, you're like staring at their crotches, and I'm like, what are you doing? And to anyone else, like, I mean, I've kind of learned, I'm like, oh, pins are nearby. Got it. But to like any other like unsuspecting cast member, they're like, what is that girl leaning over to check out that girl's boobs for?
I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, though.
I wonder, as a cast member, if you prefer someone running at you going, "Can I see your pants?" or just like creepily staring you down.
I was just gonna ask you guys, did you guys have to wear pin lanyards at work when you were?
Yes, I wore one that was on my belt, and it was fantastic. We also had like because I worked at the Garden Grill. If any of you guys didn't hear the college program story, and we had one on a tray that you would bring food out on. Our pin tray was on that, and it was huge. And I used to just like hold it around like I was just like, yes, here's my pin.
I am the pin queen.
Right. It
I
was
didn't have
great.
to wear a lanyard because the where I worked at the Mara, there was a lot of older people that worked there, and they complained about them being too heavy around their necks. So we didn't have to wear
Oh
pin
my
lanyards.
lord.
Precious.
Yeah, I didn't wear them at Cirque du Soleil. I think I wore them in Disneyland though when I worked at
Mm.
California Adventure.
You did? I'm so proud.
So I wore an actual lanyard. For whatever reason, we didn't have the option of the ones on your hip. So not only was it like all constantly falling down if I was like wiping a table or like changing a trash or whatever. The only time I didn't have to wear them at work is if I was on a register because they didn't want it to slow down lines, or like doing the food expo. But most of the time I was dining room and guest service there anyway, so I had to have one on. And I cannot tell you the number of creepy dads who were like, "Oh, I'm looking at your
Yeah.
hips,"
Oh,
and I was like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, no, you're not." Like, I'm a 19-year-old girl.
in like 100% polyester.
Yeah, like it wasn't exactly a flattering costume, but like still, So I do feel like there's some people who take advantage of the fact that young ladies have lanyards
When
on.
we do it, we are legitimately looking at your pins. We're not looking at your crotch or your butt or your chest. We are looking at your pins. I promise.
We have pin vision. We don't even know what gender you are when we're looking at your
I
pin.
know. I feel like when I go with you guys, like you just like you get closer and closer and closer, and you're like so into the pins, and the cast member's like, "Hello, can I help you?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, just looking."
Right. We don't even really look at their face. And like I remember sometimes though, specifically the one time in China, like they were standing at the building or whatever, and we saw somebody across the way, and it was like, let me see your pants. And it was like really, really far. Like we were all the way at the like front of the entrance to China, and it was like we saw the little thingy on their belt. And that was when I was looking for all those Duffy Bear pins. And I was
Oh my
like,
gosh, I remember that.
oh, I was trying to get it, and like she had pins, and I was just like, let's go.
I was just gonna say the funniest pin stories I have are like doing whatever you have to do. If you see the pin you want, you will like catapult yourself across any amount of crowds. I saw a pin once that was like across the International Gateway Walk, where they have the two kiosks on either side. Well, I was on one kiosk and I looked over, saw this girl with her little pin lanyard on her hip, and saw like a pin I needed to have to like complete a set. And I like it was full of people, and I like flung myself across there, and I'm like bumping. I'm like, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I gotta get a pin. Excuse me. It was really funny, and I elbowed a lot of people, but I got that pin.
Do you guys have a favorite pin? Where did you get it? Did you get it at the parks? Did you buy it? Did you get it in your pin lots? Tell me.
So I don't really like. I don't think I've ever traded for a pin. I use them more as like commemorative souvenirs. So when I like see a pin that's gonna remind me of something special, I just buy it. And I keep them all on a bulletin board in my room. And so I have a couple. I couldn't pick a favorite, but I've got a couple that I'm really fond of. So when I was working at Lanuba, Cirque du Soleil on our college program, we there was a New Year's Eve show, and every guest who came to the New Year's Eve performance got a pin that says like it's got one of the clowns on it, and it says like Happy New Year from Lanuba. And so that one is like pretty special because you couldn't buy it. It was like you had to buy a ticket to the show to get it. So that one's pretty cool, and I'm happy.
That
Yeah.
is cool. I'm very jealous.
And then I bought one from Disneyland during the 60th anniversary. That I bought like a annual pass holder exclusive pin that I feel really cool that I have because it was like the one year that I bought a like coast to coast annual pass so I could get into both parks. It was like my first year as a flight attendant, and I was so excited that I could fly to the Disney parks whenever I felt like it. So I was that one's really cool. And another one of my favorites is one I bought in Hong Kong Disneyland, and it has Mickey and Minnie in Chinese New Year's outfits because I went in February around the year of the dog. And so, like, the whole park was decorated for Chinese New Year. And so, this pin helps me remember that memory. So, those are my like three favorites, I think.
You pick out some really good pins. You've picked me out
Aw,
several really good
thanks.
pins.
Yeah, Stephanie's an excellent pin
Picker
gift
outer.
giver. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, because I can't like handle the trading thing. It would just stress me out. And like I have an addictive personality, so I think like I would get addicted to it.
So
So I
do
just
we.
yeah. So I just try to buy like nice ones when I see them, and it's like a nice kind of like it's like a walk down memory lane when I look at my bulletin board, and that's all I need them for. But how about you, Rachel? Do you have a favorite?
It's not one favorite pin, but I spent that whole entire trip that we've been talking about this whole time looking for the Duffy Bear pins that he was like a different character. So he was like Dopey, and he was Donald, and he was like different hat. He had the different hats on, and there's like so many of them. Like I know I don't probably have anywhere near them, but
Oh.
they are so cute, and I I really don't think I've talked about Duffy Bear too much on this podcast, but I love him. Like I love him so much, and I was pissed because you can't see him anymore in Florida or the America or anything.
The America.
Yeah, the America. And so I was just like really upset because he's my favorite. He's easily my favorite character, just straight up. And so I have tons of different pins or whatever. And one of the ones like the Duffy pins, because that's like all I can really like find of him here now is just the pins. Like they
Yeah.
don't really sell much of anything anymore. They used to have all the different dressed up bears and stuff, but I don't see those that much anymore either. They're so my favorite. That's definitely one that I'm gonna have to share in a picture to show everybody because they are awesome.
They are really cute. I don't think I could ever choose like one pin that's my favorite. I think every trip I go on, like I get one out of the ones I traded on, and then I'm like, this is it. This is my favorite. And like I have a couple that like, if anything, if like they got lost, I'd be really upset. I like to collect pins whenever I go somewhere for the first time. So I have like a Castaway Key pin from my Disney cruise. I've got a pin from the first time we went to Disneyland. Like any of the big like Disney milestones, I purchase a pin. But I also have I mean I didn't really get into pin trading, but I did get like a pin lanyard and kind of pin trade in 2013 or 2003, sorry, when I went with my family and I was younger, and the pin merchandise shop at Downtown Disney, which was Downtown Disney then, had a little booth where you got your picture taken and they printed it out on like stickers, and then you could like buy a pin that had a place to put that sticker on it.
Oh.
Yeah, so I have this one. The picture, it was like a green screen picture too. So the picture is me like pointing like at Tinkerbell, who's like pointing her little fairy dust down at me because I was obsessed with Tinkerbell at the time. And it's on a Magic Kingdom pin. So like I can't replace that pin ever. So if I ever like anything ever happened to that one, I'd be really upset. But any of the collections I really enjoy because it's fun to try and find them, whether it's through one of the lots that you purchase and you go through and you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta complete this collection. Or like you're at the parks trying to find them. I have one of the alphabet collections. I have no idea what kind. I'm sure there's like a specific name for this collection, but it's one of the ones with just the characters with the letter, the big letter. And Cameron and I have had a blast trying to like find all these letters at the parks because the first couple times we were collecting it, it was pretty easy. You'd be like, oh, we don't have that one. Oh, we don't have that one. Oh, we don't have that one. Because you're trying to find 26 pins. And now we're getting down to like, we've got like 8 that we need. And we've never even seen them in the parks. And so we're like, well, we made a promise, like we were not going to buy any. We're not going to like seek out any to complete the collection. We're not going to purchase any. Like we're only going to find them in the parks. So it's been like a fun activity for us to do while we're at the parks and we're waiting on someone else or waiting on a reservation or just don't feel like standing in a line. So that's one of my favorite sets because it has so many memories of trying to find whatever letter that we're missing.
I've figured out too recently that like the stuff that we started collecting when we first started doing pins, you can't find that stuff much anymore.
Yeah,
like they
no.
phase out, and it's like, well, good freaking luck. You may get it in your pin lot, but like you're not gonna find it at the park.
Yeah, like your Duffy pins, I feel like we're all over the park when we
Yes.
started our pin craziness, and now I might see them occasionally. And every time I do, I try to like send you a picture to make sure you don't need that one because
Right.
you're never gonna see it again. Kelly, what about you? What are some of your favorite pins?
So, like you guys, I have a lot. So I have this one pin that is of the lamp that stays lit in the fire station in Disneyland Resort. It was given during the 50th anniversary of Disneyland. They did like a VIP tour, and you got this pin after you did the tour, and it lights up. So it's really cool. It's like it looks exactly like the lamp that's sitting in the fire station window, and it lights up. So that I love that one. And then I have a WED Imagineering pin, which is like what the Imagineering was before it was Imagineering, kind of. And it just looks like the old school kind of font from like the 50s and 60s, and I think it looks really cool. And then I also have an old school looking Mouseketeer pin that I got. I think I got that in 2016 or 2015. I can't remember. But I think you can still buy it in the parks. It just looks like the old Mouseketeer emblem, and I love vintage stuff. So anytime I can find a pin that looks like it came from that time, I want to buy it. And then another pin that is my favorite is my Kylo Ren pin, which I have a story that I'm going to share that later in the podcast. My most favorite pin set is what I call the stupid face princesses.
Oh my god, yes.
The pin design, they were supposed to be little kids dressed up as the princesses, but that does not really come across when you just look at them. They just look like stupid face princesses. And Katie actually got me that set for our Secret Santa one year. So thank you, Katie.
You are welcome. I got you that set because on that first trip where we got into pin trading, you found your first stupid face princess and you were in love with her, and then she fell off your lanyard and she was lost. And
Yes.
I was heartbroken for you. I almost bought you the set then, but it was like we've spent too much money on
Yeah.
pins, no more pins.
Yeah.
And when you hadn't found them in the parks a couple years later, I was like, she's getting this set.
Yeah. There were multiple times when Jerry was like, I'll just buy the set for you. And I was like, no, I really want to just like find them in the parks. Like, I want to be able to find them. And then when you gave me that, Jerry was like, well, I was going to buy that for you. Yeah, I was like, it's okay. But all of those pins that I mentioned, I bought. I bought the lamp one and the WED Imagineering on eBay. The old school Mouseketeer pin I bought in the parks, and the Kylo Ren pin I bought in the parks, and then Katie bought the Stupid Face Princesses for me, which we'll post a picture of the Stupid Face Princesses because I'm sure you want to see them with me describing them that way.
They got stupid faces.
Yeah.
They got real stupid
Yeah.
faces. So now I'm just wondering, with your pin trading antics, what are some good experiences you had with cast members?
So I remember on my first ever trip to Walt Disney World, we talked a little bit about it in our resorts episode. We stayed at the All Star Sports, and when we were checking in, the cast member learned that it was our first time there and asked if we knew anything about pin trading, and we said no. And so he gave us our first ever pin, and it was a little snorkeling Mickey, and said that we could go to like any cast member in like the parks and resorts and like keep our eye out for some pins. And if we saw one we liked better than this one, we could ask them to trade. And they had to do it. And we'd get a new pin, and you could keep trading them as many times as you wanted. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So I went around the whole trip, like looking at other cast members' pins, but I was like, oh, but snorkeling Mickey is like my first pin. And I said, like, I use the pins as like commemorative souvenirs. So I was like, I can't trade this. And so I don't think I've ever traded a pin in my life, but that was the first pin I ever got. So
Do you still have snorkeling Mickey?
I do. Yeah, he's on my bulletin board.
Did Brendan trade his?
I don't know.
Brandon, did you trade yours?
He was really little. I don't even think he remembers going that first trip. But I snorkeling Mickey always kind of like just sat on my desk for a while until he just kind of followed me around. And now he's
Aw.
got a permanent place on my bulletin board with all my other pins.
I love
That's
that.
so cute.
This is why we are pin crazy.
How about you, Katie? Any good pin trading stories?
So, like I said, I kind of started pin trading in 2003. I didn't get super into it until I was an adult and could spend my own money on it, which I have. We stayed at the Polynesian on that trip. My parents figured this was going to be the last Disney trip while we were still living in the house with them. My sister was in high school, I was in middle school, and they just weren't really planning on taking us again. Little did they know we turned into a Disney family, so that kind of went out the window. But so they went all out. We stayed at the Polynesian. I've got the best memories, family memories from that trip because it was going to be a special trip for us, and it was going to be like our last trip as kids. So we're waiting for the monorail at the Polynesian, and we got to talking to a cast member, and he had an Atlanta Braves pin on his lanyard. I'm from Georgia. The Braves are my team. I don't really like sports, but like the Braves are my team. And so I was so excited. I was like, Dad, look, like Atlanta Braves. And we're talking to this cast member for a while. It wasn't a Disney pin that he had. It was just like his own personal Atlanta Braves pin. But we spent this time talking to him and like got to know him, and he was from Georgia as well, so we were talking about that. And before we got on, the cast member asked if I would like to take care of his Braves pin for him. And like I said, it was his personal pin. It was a non-Disney pin. So I was like, no, like that's yours. It's yours. I can't trade that. And he insisted that I was just borrowing it, and he knew I'd take good
Aw.
care of it. And I still have that pin today. It's on my board, and it is one of my favorites.
That's so special.
I know, it's very special. Every time I like see it and I think about that story,
Yeah, because like I don't know if I'd do that for someone. Be like,
yeah, exactly. Especially once I became a cast member, and I was thinking about, I was like, dude, if I had like a pin that was my own personal pin, no way in hell I'm trading it off to some
right?
grubby little kid. No way. So the fact that this guy was nice enough to offer to let me take care of it
Aw.
and borrow it was him going above and beyond, and just like a really great experience for me. What about you, Kelly?
When I went to Walt Disney World with my family after I graduated from high school, we took my grandma and Meemaw along. And every time my nephew, who was 8 at the time, traded a pin, my Meemaw made him take his picture
Aw.
with the cast member that he traded with.
Oh,
Yeah, so anywhere from
That is cute.
so from like janitors
Janitors.
to custodial, um, to people in the restaurants and wherever people were wearing cast members were wearing lanyards to trade. Like he has a picture with the cast member that he traded with, and it was kind of funny because like my sister, his mom would be like, "Okay, Jax, that was good. Let's go." And my Meemaw's like, "No, I need to take a
Aw,
picture
that's so cute.
or make a picture." So she would make the picture, and yeah, it's just a really cute story.
That's sweet.
Yeah. What's your story, Rachel?
my story. Y'all's are all really like very sentimental and things of that nature, but probably because I'm just ridiculous as hell when I pin trade. Everybody always just looks at me like I'm dumb. And they laugh because I'm almost 30 and I'm acting 12. Like,
I bet that makes their day, though. I bet they get a kick out of that and really enjoy it.
oh, I'm sure. We had too many people laughing at us, so
Oh yeah.
whatever. But yeah, mine's not very long winded nor sentimental. Sorry. Okay, now these are kind of for the listeners. If you want to pin trade, you haven't pin traded, or you want to know some good spots, you'll want to listen in for this. So, what are your personal favorite spots in the parks to pin trade?
I once came across a pin trash can in Animal Kingdom, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like two of the sides of like the regular size trash can were covered in cork boards, and they had pins all stuck into them. So that's not out all the time. I think some of the custodial will walk it around every now and then. So that's cool if you can catch that. And then I also really like the pin drum that's in Rock and Roller Coaster store, like the gift shop you exit out of.
yeah.
I just think it's a really cute
That's
idea.
always so good.
Yeah, and it's kind of hidden, so not everybody knows that it's there. So if you can catch that out, that's fun to look at. I don't really
Yeah.
remember any pins that I've gotten off of one of those, but I just think they're cute. pin spots
You can
to find.
ask for it too.
Yeah,
If it's not out, you can ask one of the cast members working photo,
Yeah.
and I'm sure they'll be happy to bring it out for you.
yeah,
We've done that.
Yeah, we have.
Like, where's your pins?
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how
There
it
are
went.
lots of places that have, especially like merchandise places that have pin boards that are like behind the counter or something like that, and you just have to kind of ask for them or ask and see if they have one. There's some in the World Showcase too.
I would say the World Showcase as a whole, you can go and spend hours doing it if that's what you're there for. Like, we'll drink and we'll trade and we'll drink and trade.
Oh my god. That sounds like the perfect day.
I'm pretty sure that's why we screamed at all of these
Yeah,
people because
probably.
we were probably 75% drunk.
What? Us?
Never.
No.
But yeah, World Showcase is so much fun. And I would say probably my favorite spot to trade in World Showcase, maybe America, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I found some good stuff there, and they have like this spot in the store, and then they have the little card on the outside, and the lady on the outside, or man, or whoever it is, usually has some pretty good ones too.
I have something to add to the World Showcase. So the Kid Cot stops. Nearly every cast member that's at a Kid Cot stop has a lanyard on. So if you're not a kid and you're not doing Kid Cot, still kind of stop by those stops and see if you need any of the pins that those cast members have on.
I feel like that's a really good tip because little kids do not know that they're giving away good pins.
I was just gonna say my tip is to do the merchandise shops. The merchandise shops are gonna be the best place to find pins, period. But merchandise shops in Magic Kingdom are the best because I think there's more kids trading there. I mean, there's more kids in general trading, but specifically the kids are more concentrated in Magic Kingdom, and they don't realize they're trading away really awesome pins. Like you can take advantage of these children. Do I feel bad about taking advantage of a child's ignorance?
No.
Not at all.
In this case, no. And I was just going to say, like, I've always heard, probably from you guys, that, like, the DVC cast members always have some good
Yes.
pins.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in hopes of, like, luring you in so that they can, like, talk you into spending money on the DVC.
Yeah, I would say if you're not good at saying no thanks and walking away, maybe don't go to the DVC cast members for
Or just go,
lanyards, 'cause-
I'm poor. Just want to see your pins.
There you go.
Okay, so we talked about the parks trading pins. Another place that we have found good to trade, as Katie mentioned earlier, was the resorts. They have some damn good pins in the resorts. My favorite, personally, is Art of Animation. I have found so many good pins there. Like, the gift shop is an awesome place to pin trade. Like, I know most places they have, all their cast members have them in the gift shops, but like, I've just found really good ones there. I've had good luck.
So my older sister, shout out to Jessie, who I know is going to be listening.
Hey, girl.
She worked at Art of Animation for a while in the merchandise shop. So she actually confirmed that Art of Animation does have better pins because she knows a couple of managers personally who do make an effort to pull better pins and put them on those pin boards, especially the pin boards, and make sure their cast members have some better pins. So you're not imagining it, and they actually have good
Cool.
pins. So yeah, I second that. Art of Animation is one of the best places to find pins, not only because their managers are making more of an effort to have the better pins, but I feel like there are more cast members there and more like places you can go and trade at. So I like Art of Animation as a trading spot, but Animal Kingdom Lodge has like a pin master. I don't actually know what he's called, but he comes out into the lobby during certain times, like it's scheduled, and he's got an entire book you can look through.
I hope he's called the Pin Master. That seems like a great
It's
title.
called something really cute. It's something very like, okay. But I think you can trade like up to 5. I don't know. But it's really awesome. And we kept missing it when we were staying at Animal Kingdom because it's in the middle of the day and we just weren't at the resort at that time. But it's a great opportunity if you're looking to do some serious pin trading.
I agree. I third Art of Animation. I think the last time I was there, I traded for like 2 or 3 pins there, and they were good pins. I've also seen more of like the mystery trading pins where cast members will take and face the pin backwards, so you're you don't know what you're getting,
Oh
and that's always
yeah.
fun to do because even if you get a pin you don't like, you're like, oh well, I'm just gonna trade this away anyway, so you can continue that trading thing. And I think I noticed a lot of cast members at Art of Animation doing that, so it kind of adds another level of fun to pin trading. And I think the resorts, they're a little bit less trafficked for pin trading. I don't think people think of them. Because they normally have their pin lanyards on when they're in the park, so it's like on their mind. But when they're in the resort, they're either just coming home or they're about to go out, and so the pins aren't on their mind. So the pins that are in the resort lobbies being traded kind of don't get looked at as much. But that's just my thought process on that.
Maybe that is why they're better in merchandise shops. I will say the mystery pin is fun most of the time. It's fun when cast members are like, yeah, answer a trivia question, or, just you have to pick one and deal with it. I had a cast member once who was like, yeah, she was in Animal Kingdom, and she wasn't even near like the troupe that they come out and like play music, but you could kind of hear it in the background. And she was like, yeah, you can have your pick of mystery pins, I'll flip them over and you can see them all if you dance for me. And I was like, sorry, like I'm an adult woman and I don't want to
That's
do that for
weird.
pins. So thanks, but no thanks. And she like didn't want me to walk away. I was like, no, just dance a little, just dance. And I was like, you're making everyone
Yeah, that's
uncomfortable.
not
No.
everyone's idea of
Yeah,
fun.
it was so uncomfortable. So
That would be cute for a little kid.
exactly, for a little kid it might be cute, but it was like that no, this is very weird. This is very uncomfortable. Like I don't appreciate this. So you just beware with your mystery pins. Also, another place that has pins that I don't think people think about is Disney stores, including the one in the airport in
Oh yeah.
Orlando. So if you're headed home and you still want to do some pin trading, don't forget to like pack those in your carry-on so you
Mm.
can still trade some. I got a really good pin from the Orlando Airport Disney store one time. I was waiting on Stephanie to come in,
Yeah.
and I was walking around the airport, and I didn't realize that they traded pins there. So I put all my luggage down and like started digging for my pin. I was like, "Hold on, I want that pin. I have one to trade you. Give me a second."
Okay, and I have one final question. Is there a pin that you've seen recently? Because I'm pretty sure we've all gone to a Disney park fairly recently that you've wanted really bad. And did you get it? But if you didn't, why?
I think Kelly wants to talk about this
So
one.
I have a bit of a story. I kind of wrote this pin finding story as a tale, if you will. So settle in, get your drink if you want, and I'm gonna tell my little story. So I went to Disney in March, Walt Disney World in March of 2019, at the beginning of March, and I found a Star Wars mystery pin box, and it was the only pin I could find that had Kylo Ren in it. Out of all the Star Wars pins made, there was only one, and I had to own that Kylo Ren pin because I love him. So I bought 2 boxes of the mystery pins, which each had 2 pins in them, hoping beyond hope that Ben Solo would be hiding amongst those 4 pins, but alas, it was not meant to be. I got Snoke, I got Rose Tico, Phasma, and Finn. So I went about my day a little bit sadder for the lack of Adam Driver pins in my life. And then later on,
He has so many names.
yes, that is the point of my whole
God.
story, is to use every single name that I could think of. So later on, Jerry and I were heading over to Mama Melrose's for our dinner reservation, which was very good, by the way. But before we went to eat, I decided to make a quick stop into Tatooine Traders for one last chance at my Kylo pin. I went up to the pin display and I decided to choose the second from the first box on the second row of boxes, using the Force to sway the pin gods my way.
Oh my God.
I opened the box like Charlie did opening his last bar of Wonka chocolate, hoping to see my sought after pin, but not wanting to get my hopes up. The first pin was a stormtrooper, which was really cool, but it was not my Kylo. And I moved on to the second pin, and when I tore the black plastic bag that the pins come in, a red corner was revealed to me, and I was telling myself, it's just gonna be another Snoke. I was like, just don't get too excited. It's just gonna be another Snoke. So I ripped it open the rest of the way, and thank the maker, my Kylo pin was in my hand, staring back at me. My mission was complete, and I could sleep well that night, knowing that Pin Solo was mine. The end.
Oh my god!
I feel like we've been on an emotional roller coaster.
In the land of Star Wars.
Oh, that was a tale.
The end. I did a little bow, but you can't see it.
I'm glad that you were able to use
Yeah.
the Force.
I did, like
to
literally.
find
I
your
was
pin.
because I told Jerry, I was like, I'm gonna choose the second from the first on the second row, and he was just like, ha ha, that's funny, like whatever. And then I was like, I have him. He is in my hand. So I will definitely share a picture of my Kylo pin so that everybody can see him.
God, please, because I would feel really, really like I would feel cheated if I didn't see that damn pin.
So I'm a lot more basic than Kelly. I just want all the macaroon pins because they look delicious. And I really like the horses that they have that are themed after classic attractions. And that is it. Thank you for coming to our podcast.
Mine's the same. I purposely didn't look at mini pins when I was there because I knew I would have bought them all, and I did not even buy not one single pin this time. I think I may have traded for like 2 of them. I did not buy not even one.
Were you feeling okay? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was fine.
I don't ever buy any. I don't remember the last time I bought a pin. Like I have a rule for myself that like if you're gonna be pin trading, like that's where your money's going. Like you buy your pins to trade, and like if you want a pin, you better find it, ho.
See, I tell myself that, and then I'm like, nah, life's too short. Treat yourself. And I buy that pin that I want.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Because I don't really buy other souvenirs when I do a park trip. I don't really buy souvenirs. So the pins are my souvenirs. So that's what I spend my money on.
Right, they're like easy to carry home. You know, you can like
Yeah.
display it easily once you get home.
Yeah.
You'll look at it all the time.
I don't mind spending some money on pins. I do love trading, but I only really like trading when I'm with you guys.
Yeah, so like I said before, I'm not, or I don't think I've ever traded for a pin. So when I see one I like, I do buy it. That said, I think the last pin I bought is a Secret Santa gift. So one of you will be getting that come Christmas.
Ooh, and Stephanie gives the best pin gifts.
She really does.
Aw.
Like, I ain't gonna lie.
Because I know you guys like them, so it's like it's like a guarantee. I'm like,
That's
okay,
true.
I get a pan.
Yeah.
I don't even think I would be mad if you like gave me a Star Wars pin because it's probably like
I
a
definitely
good
have
one.
given you Star Wars pins before.
Yeah, you did. But like you pick like when you give us an actual like pin, like just a pin, you're just like you pick a really good
Mhm.
one. And so even if it was Star Wars, and I don't really care much for Star Wars, sorry, but it would probably be a cool ass pin.
Yeah, you put a lot of thought into your pins. I'm just like,
I do. I
pin
scope them all
shiny.
out, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, that's the one I'm getting.
See, I'm just like, this pin shiny. Kelly like this color. Here, Kelly, have
Right.
pin.
Oh yeah, for our listeners, we've been doing Secret Santa since like December of 2011. And so we started on our college program and we've just kept the tradition going. But in recent years, we started picking like on December 26th. So we now have like a full year to shop for the person we have, which is really fun. So like anytime you see something for whoever you have, like for an entire year, you can just pick it up and save it till Christmas.
And it's so much better that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget that people don't do Secret Santa stuff like a year in advance. And so like when you're talking,
Right.
like this sounds completely normal to me to like for
Yeah.
us to be picking out stuff, but I'm sure some people are like,
It's
like,
summertime.
May?
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about Secret Santa? But I just bought a Disney fantasy pin, which are ones that aren't made by Disney for my Secret Santa. So, and I've been wanting to show you guys so much. Like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna send him this picture of this pin, but it would completely tell who I have, so I haven't done it.
Is that the place that you got the pins for the advent calendar for me last time?
They're from a bunch of different
different?
stores.
Okay.
Yeah. Fantasy pins are just pins that aren't made by Disney, but like they're sold on Etsy and different small shops and stuff like that.
Gotcha,
Which that could be a whole nother episode on its own because they come up with some pretty good ones.
Yeah.
Like the one that I
Yeah,
just
the
bought.
ones you got me. The ones you got me that were like different.
Yeah.
Love them. They're some of my favorites.
Yeah. But those you can't trade in the parks. You're not supposed to trade fantasy pins in the parks.
I wouldn't trade those pins you got me last time for nothing in the world. Okay, well, I hope you guys weren't too bored by this. We're just pretty passionate about pins. Obviously, we made an entire episode.
I wrote an entire short story about a pin. So.
Right. But I do have to mention that you guys voted for this on the Instagram story. So you get what you ask for.
And we really enjoyed doing this. We enjoyed doing this as a vote for you guys. It was a lot of fun for us to know what you wanted to listen to. So look for some more polls in the future to decide what episode we're going to release next.
So we always ask questions at the end of the episodes to get some interaction from you guys. So answer it. Do any of you guys trade pins? Where do you get them? Do you buy your lots on eBay and stuff like we do? Do you have a favorite pin? We'd love to see them. Send us some pictures. We'll post them on our Instagram story. We love to hear from you guys. And also, we're still loving all the interactions we get and the friendships we're making on our social medias.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't done it yet,
go and follow us on Instagram at Spilling the Mad Tea to vote in our polls of which episode you'd like to hear next. And I'm sure that's where we'll be posting some pictures of our favorite pins.
Yes, and you can also tweet us all the time. I be loving to tweet, so let's tweet at Spilling Mad Tea.
You can also like us on Facebook. We'd love to interact with you on there as well. We are Spilling the Mad Tea.
And you can also email us pictures of your favorite pins at spillingthemadtea@gmail.com.
If you guys have any questions or suggestions on things you would like to hear about next, let us know. We will be doing some polls like we said before. Thanks so much for listening to us talk about pins for an hour. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Happy pin hunting.